Our next speaker, I met Michelle, actually, not really met her in person. This is the first time I met you in person. We met kind of online. We met through EXP, some of the conventions. But this individual, number one from Washington State, built one of the largest independent brokerages in Washington State, ran one of the largest C21 brokerages franchises in Washington State, and also had the largest listing brokerage in Washington State. And I have never seen anybody with more discipline. We talked about discipline earlier than Michelle. This girl gets up every morning before God, and she works out relentlessly. You see her on social media. She does like 5,000 sit-ups, 7,000 pull-ups, and 80,000 miles. I don't know what it is, but you'll see when you see her. Nonetheless, welcome Michelle Wilson to the stage. Get it, girl. Woo!
All right. Aloha, everyone. So thank you, Chris, for the invitation. How great is it to be here? I brought my daughter with me, and I am just honored to be here in the room with all of you, so thank you. And we all know that there's a lot going on in our industry right now, right, and over the past couple of years. And there is a lot of people that need help. They're looking for hope, and they're looking for more. I still cannot believe that I get to live my life how I do every day today. I am so grateful, and I found this platform at exactly the right time. How many of you are used to being the supporter and provider in your families? I can't see you, but raise your hand, right? How many of you, right? We show up every day, right? We show up every day no matter what, because we have to. We have people relying on us. And it's not necessarily in doing the things that we want to, right? But we show up. So I want to ask you guys some questions. And actually, John, you briefly touched on this. And I'm going to relate to this a little bit later. These questions are the hard questions. And these are all things that we've probably been asked before. But I wasn't able to do what I did with them that changed my life until I hit the right timing. And I'm going to share that with you guys. So a couple of things that I want you guys to write down if you guys are taking notes, right? Are you looking ahead to where you're actually going, right? Are you looking at where you're heading? And is the goal just to make a lot of money right now, but then you'll figure out the long-term play later, right? And are you living the kind of life, the way that you want to now, and the way that you designed it, or are you operating the way that you are because you have to? Think about that, okay? And John said this, okay? Let's actually talk about what's the most important to us. Let's look at what matters in our lives, right? What's going on with our relationships? How is your relationship with your spouse? And what about your kids? How is your relationship with your kids? And how are you doing physically? And how are you doing financially? One of the best parts about where I am today is that I get to have these hard conversations with people all the time because I know how easy it is to lose sight of why we're actually doing all this in the first place. I know how easy it is to get caught up in just making more money, in just trying to get caught up, right? And if I can only accomplish this, it's too easy to get caught up in that. So I want to tell you right now that if you are not happy where you are at, or you think you don't have it all figured out, there is a better way. Okay? And I'm going to share my journey with you guys, and in hopes that it impacts even just one of you, where you find that something inside of you, where you get the courage to make that decision that's going to change your family's life. Oh, I'm really bad at slides, you guys. There's where it starts. Those are the questions I want you guys to ask. So here's just a quick snapshot about my background, okay? So I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Washington State. I've been in the industry for just under 2 decades, and I've had the good fortune of building a great business and company that's been able to really push through and thrive in a lot of different markets. I had one of the largest independent brokerages that I built in the state, one of the largest Century 21s in the country, and our niche was listings, okay? So I had the largest listing brokerage in my marketplace for many of those years. I run a sales and conversion listing program for agents. So I work with agents, I work with team leaders, and I work with broker owners all across the country. And the story I'm going to share with you guys is I hit a really interesting and pivotal point in my life about 5 years ago. And I had to make some big decisions, and I had to take some huge risks. And where I want to start with you guys is, let's follow my links here. I love what I do, okay? I love what I do, and I have been building and supporting so many people for so many years of this huge operation. I have this overwhelming sense of responsibility for the whole operation and all the people in it, right? And my mantra is always do the work. You get everything you want if you just do the work, right? It's what I hashtag on everything. It's do the work, do the work. However, at the same time, am I actually progressing to what matters to me? Because it's not just about making money. And bigger is not always better, even though it's easy to get caught up in, right? Most of us feel frustrated or are unhappy with where we're at because we're not progressing towards something that's worthwhile to us. You see, as an owner, you are a leader, and we are responsible for our people, and we choose to be in this role. And many might think that it's exciting, it might be powerful, but that's all perspective, okay? Because building our businesses comes at a huge cost. And no matter how successful we are, no matter how great things look on the outside, there are problems that we cannot solve. And I'm just gonna highlight for you guys, and I know there are many in this room that would be able to relate to this, right? The challenges that we experience in this industry, okay? Anyone, whether as an agent, as a team leader, as an owner, these are the things that we experience. And I wanna highlight the top challenges that we come across, okay? Number one is our liability and our expenses. The more successful we are, the bigger we grow, so does our overhead, so does our staff, so does our liability. I think at one point, between my staff, my virtual assistants, and my ISAs, okay, I had probably, I don't know, well over 70 people on payroll. My name was signed on 6 different leases. My overhead, this is exciting, was well over $250,000 a month just to run my company. Oh, and that did not include anyone that's part of a franchise here, the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in royalty fees to corporate, okay? And we got to carry the liability of hundreds and thousands of contracts every single year. That was pretty cool. If anyone's in my position, okay? Number 2, the evolving door of agents. So, like any business, we have to constantly be creating business, right? Meaning, we have to constantly be recruiting agents or we're not in business. And here's the reality. There's nothing in it for the agents. They can leave to a company tomorrow to close their transactions, just like that. There's always a cheaper shop. There's always another shiny toy. And our top producers will eventually say, I love you, thank you, but I'm gonna build something for myself now. And this is a hard pill to swallow, just knowing that it's part of the process. And our job as team leaders and owners is to provide as much value as possible to slow down and delay that process as much as possible. But that heartache that this causes, it does catch up with you eventually. And I know a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Number 3 is having an actual exit strategy. So here's the reality. Most will never build something big enough to actually matter financially. I talk to so many owners, and we all just think, okay, well, if I can just build it to this many agents, and then eventually I can sell it, and I'll be good. So yes, we can sell it. The payout is not very much. In most cases, it makes sense to just keep the income coming. But we want our time back eventually, right? We want our time back. So we can hire managers to run our operations. That's also one of our biggest challenges because they're never going to care and be invested the same way that we are. And our asset is our agents who can walk out the door the moment that we're gone, okay? And in a lot of cases, they are at our companies for us. And the last one, to me, this is the most important by far. I think everybody in our industry can relate, okay? I think everyone can relate to this. How many of you, sorry, getting used to holding all this, how many of you have had your spouse or your kids begging you to stop working on the weekends and the evenings? I can't see you, but raise hands. How many of you? And how many of you have ruined vacations or any event because we're on our cell phones and laptops the whole time, right? And how many of you have used the excuse a few hundred too many times, babe, I have to. This is for our future. I have to make us money. It won't always be this way. So here's the deal. I've always been a workhorse, right? This is normal for my friends, my family, my coworkers. I think most of us, we have to put in the work, right? I believe 100% put in the work because there is no easy way. However, I think most of us think that we have to sacrifice one for the other, right? Or at least I did. That's what we think we have to do. We think that, what do we have to give up here, right? We don't have to give up what's important to us and our families. We don't have to have our health wait. Our families don't have to wait. We don't have to be the yes man to every client, every agent, to our partners, because there is a better way. So let's go back in all of this, and this is around, I'd say about 5 years ago. Let's go back to that timeline, right? So I'm building my business, I'm doing my thing, right? I'm running this giant company, and it's been quite a few years now that my husband left me, and he moved out of state, okay? And we were together almost 20 years, and all he wanted was my time. And here's what I said: not yet. It's coming. It won't always be like this. And while that hurt really bad, I just put my head down and I kept on building. And it was 2 weeks after he left me that I found out I was pregnant. And so I freaked out for a second, put my head down, went right back to building. And I'm really good at avoiding all of my problems by just working harder. So I'm a realtor, exactly. So I was just crazy focused, right? I was like, I have to build faster, I have to make more money. This is what's gonna solve all of my problems, right? This was my mentality. And so this is exactly 5 years ago. I look up, I take a peek up, and I look around. And I look at where I'm at in life, right? And I ask myself those questions I brought up to you guys at the beginning. And I realize that I was not raising my daughter, let alone any parent, okay? And I realized that I had missed the first 4 years of her life. And I realized that I let my husband just walk out the door. And I realized that I was so stressed by the weight of the responsibility of my company and taking care of everyone in it that I forgot to check if I was okay. And I forgot to check if my family was okay. So here I am, right? I'm building this massive company. I'm thinking that it's the solution to create exactly what I'm looking for in life, right? And in pursuit of building my business, I end up building my own prison, okay? My husband leaves me. I'm raising my daughter on my own from day one, right? It's just her and I. I'm 0% present, by the way. I have what I consider my midlife crisis, okay? I decide to leave the company that I built for 14 years from the ground up. So this is when I had to make that decision. So when I hit all this realization, and when I was at a point in my life where I could ask myself those questions and have it actually make sense to me, and I actually looked up and I realized what was going on, that's when I lost all satisfaction in what I was doing. And I made the decision to leave the company that I had built from the ground up for 14 years. Now, this was a successful company. It was my entire life, and it was all of my financial means. And so while I'm going through this whole transition process, right? I'm going through this whole transitional phase. I'm doing the separation, the buyout. That also didn't go so great, okay? So I had to make some more tough decisions. And instead of letting it drag out longer, I decided to leave and walk away with everything, with nothing. So I left by myself and no more income. You see, a lot of people, I think, believe that I might have come here with this big company, right? That I'm running with this big team already. But here's the reality. I had no idea that EXP even existed. I had no idea that we had this opportunity, this platform, because nobody told me. So here I am, I'm running with all of this, right? My husband leaves. I'm not present with my daughter. I decide to leave the company, right? It's what I call my midlife crisis. I leave my company, right, to start all over again, of which I got no money for after all that time. And just to make it even better, while I'm going through this weird transitional phase of my life, I get to deal with this really awesome lawsuit that cost me over $200,000 to fight, which was money I didn't have, by the way. So, I know I'm really bad at my slides, but has anyone ever had something really bad happen to them? Raise your hand. And how many of you, looking back, are like, that's the best thing that ever happened to me? Yes? Yes? So all of this, right, all of this stuff that I went through, it brought me to this blank slate. And with that blank slate, I was able to ask myself, okay, well, if I'm going to rebuild everything all over again from scratch anyways, how would I do it? And what's the biggest need in our industry? Because if you can fill that void, there is an incredible empire you can build and fulfillment and the impact you can have on others' lives. So I brought my business here. I launched my business by myself. It was a little over 3.5 years ago. It took me 7 months to recreate the company that previously took me 14 years. I get to work in my business the way that I want to, not because I have to. I only do what I love doing, right? And let me paint the picture of the true leverage that we have here, okay? I know there's other owners in here. I know there's big teams in here. I just shared with you guys, my overhead was $250,000 plus a month to run my franchise, okay? My business expenses now to run, I run a large organization of 600 plus agents, is less than $4,000 a month. I am no longer stuck, boots on the ground, in my business, my phone going off 24/7, okay? I get to travel, experience life with my daughter. I get to work from anywhere in the world, and I get to partner with agents and leaders all over the country because we want to build together. Not them work for me, not the other way around, right? And as a parent, you guys, as a mom, I think it's very easy for all of us to think that we have to sacrifice this to get that. Anyone with me? We think we have to sacrifice raising our families to build our businesses, or we have to sacrifice building our business in order to raise our family. Well, anyone that knows me knows I'm that mom. I am crazy about my daughter. It's always just been her and I, and it's like pulling teeth to get me away from her, okay? I know that I could find help and I could hire help to help me with all the little things, right? To make it easier. But here's what's really cool. The little things are what's important to me. They are my non-negotiables. I know that it's a privilege that I get to raise my daughter every day. And it is a privilege that I get to get her ready, take her to school, and pick her up every day. It is my favorite thing to do in the whole world that I get to do. This slide would have been on that whole time. But guys, there's only so much time we get with our children. I get to do the things that I want to do and operate in my life and my business the way that I want to, okay? And I'm here to tell you right now that you can have both. And because I was able to have that blank slate and actually have time to think about things, actually think about what I wanted, actually think about what I wanted my life to be like, I found and got introduced to this platform and said, okay, well, with this platform, what am I actually trying to do with my life? How do I want to operate it? How do I want to live my life today? Not, I'm going to eventually figure it out. We all know how that goes, right? And I was able to take all of this and look at what I actually wanted, and then I just built it all backwards and built that, not the other way around, okay? It was when I made the decision to put my needs first, my family's needs first, my dreams a priority, that my business took off. And I'm able to use this platform to help other people have the same opportunity. I'm very particular about where I spend my time, so I spend intentional time on building passive income every single day. You guys have to get serious about this, okay? You have to think about what's actually important to you, because what you intentionally focus on is what you will create. Okay? It's what you will create. This platform, so I always call EXP a business model. With the business model of EXP and the partners that I have in it, I was able to now have a platform that changed my life, and almost immediately. So this is my probably definition of what eXp's platform is as an opportunity to all of us, okay? It's an opportunity to own your own brokerage without all the overhead and liability, giving you an unlimited checkbook to hire all the best leaders and all of the best resources into your company, making it an undeniable value proposition for any agent, okay? Because there is not a single problem that the business model with all of your partners, you guys, we cannot solve for every single agent out there, every single team leader, and every single owner. This is what gives us a creative platform to build out our business and our life the way that we choose to, okay, the way that we choose to. So who are you leveraging to build what you want? Who are you leveraging? Because there is incredible power when you get into alignment with the right people. Incredible power. And you will be amazed at how quickly things will happen when you get into that alignment. Most of us, because we're all realtors, right, are stuck in this mindset as a 1099 contractor. And we think we got to figure it all out for ourselves and we got to do it all ourselves. You are only not building because you don't know how to. All you have to do is actually do your homework and reach up and insert yourself into the business of your partners that are already building and leading, because they're all already doing it. We're already building. We're already doing it all. We're already leading people. You just have to actually reach up, insert yourself in, and plug in, okay? You have to get intentional with making the decision to change your life. You have to get intentional with the work that you have to do, and you have to get intentional with leveraging the right people to help you build your business, okay? So I would ask you guys, stop asking if it's going to be worth it, but instead, what's your life going to look like if you don't do it? I'm just gonna end with this. This is actually my favorite quote. This helped me break through, guys, when I was stuck. That's not a good feeling, right? I felt very stuck in my business and in my life, and I didn't know a way out. Have the courage to break the patterns in your life that are no longer serving you. So, thank you guys. I hope to connect with a lot of you guys. I am an open book. I know this was just the story version. I am open book on how I build, how we work with our people, how we're working together as partners. A lot of people don't realize what they need to do. And so I'm an open book. You guys can reach out to me anytime. Tomorrow I will be speaking on a production-based piece in the morning. I know they'll talk about that, where I'm going to share some of the things that we do with our organization and with our agents to help them sell a lot of houses and build exactly what we're doing. So thank you so much, you guys. Thank you.
Give it up for Michelle Wilson.
Yeah, you guys are not